In today's episode of the Beach Travel Wine podcast, we are taking you to one of the most beautiful parts of northern Spain. We are doing a day trip from Santiago de Compostella down south coast, down towards the Pontevedra. We are going on a wine trip. We are going on a boat trip. We're going to take you to one of the most beautiful beaches you've ever seen, talk about some fertility rituals. And also we're going to take you to a very wealthy island and a cathedral that's covered in shells. And then we're going to take you on a boat trip where you can eat as many mussels and drink as much white wine as you like. And we tell you a funny story about a group of guys that were with us. And trust me, it was a great story. Besides all that, we then go to Cambaro, which is a gorgeous little town full of ancient history with witches and stone crosses. So I hope you enjoy this episode. It's a fabulous day trip and lots of information in it. So please enjoy episode 138. And if you'd like to see all the photos that go with this episode, because it took some beautiful ones, then click on the link in the podcast player in the description and you'll be taken directly to that webpage. So for now, enjoy episode 138 of the Beach Travel Wine podcast. Good morning, Lyle. How are you today?
Buenos dias, Leonita. Muy bien.
We are still in Galicia. As I said in intro, we did a fabulous day trip all the way down the coast south from Santiago de Compostella, almost down to Pontevedra, and it's one of the most beautiful parts of Spain that you can imagine, yeah?
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, so we did a day trip because we thought that would be a great way to get the information and see all the different places. And there's some really great day trips out of Santiago. I don't think people really understand that.
And the other reason we did a day tour is we don't drive in Europe.
No, we don't drive in Europe.
So it was the only way.
We could have done some little bus trips to different places,
sure.
But this one just seemed to cover a whole lot of stuff.
The places we wanted to go.
Yeah, I really wanted to go. And I was not disappointed. So you want to tell us a bit more, like we're in Galicia. I don't know if we've sort of told people a bit where we are in Spain. So.
No, the first podcast we did on Santiago, we really didn't explain where the region was. So Galicia is in the northwestern corner of Spain, located on the Atlantic coast of the Iberian Peninsula. It borders the Atlantic Ocean to the north and west, Portugal to the south, and the Spanish regions of Asturias and Castile-Leon to the east.
So it just sits right above Portugal, doesn't it?
Yeah. It includes the four provinces of A Coruña, Lugo, Ourense, and Pontevedra. The region sometimes called Green Spain due to its lush green landscape.
And it is really beautiful. Now, I know I say this every episode, but I've really got some beautiful photos. So check out the link in the description on the player listening on to go and check out some of these photos. So the tour we did, I will put a link also in the show notes. So that's through the description as well, just because I'd highly recommend this one.
So why do we go to Galicia this time?
Well, we hadn't been to this part of Spain. We've been to nearly every other part of Spain, and I've always wanted to go to Galicia. We've obviously seen it on travel shows. It's famous for, obviously, Santiago de Compostela, but also the wine and the seafood. It's the region's known for that. So we've watched, cooking shows on Galicia. We've watched travel shows on Galicia, and I've always really wanted to go there. And it's not touristy. There's lots of beautiful places to see in its natural beauty.
Yeah, it sort of really first came to my attention. There was a TV documentary by Anthony Bourdain, and he did it in Galicia, all about the food and the restaurants and that sort of thing. And I was blown away by that. And then we saw that movie on the
Camino.
The Camino with Martin Sheen. That was really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember we went to a restaurant in Asturias, and we asked the wine person, what should we drink? And he said, why don't you try an Albarino from Rias Brachos? And we had it, and it was just amazing.
And that area you're talking about, the Albarino, is in Galicia.
Is in Galicia. Yeah. So that was the main reason. And then we found out about the tapas when we got there. And all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so that's the reasons why we went.
Where we started our tour was very close to where we were staying at the Hotel Universal. And on our way to the pickup spot, we found a really nice cafe, bakery to buy our morning cafe con leche.
Yeah.
And, of course, plenty of time because it was just in this park, in this little church, beautiful little gardens along there. So we had a nice little walk through the gardens, having a coffee. And the tour was in Spanish and English.
Yep.
Yeah. And our guide, this was hilarious. Like we were waiting for a group of 5, but the lady was speaking Spanish, gorgeous young Spanish lady. But then when she spoke English, it was the most English Cockney accent you've ever heard. It just did my head in.
Yeah.
Like, she obviously spent a lot of time in England, and that's where her accent came from. But yeah, most Spanish native people speak English with a Spanish accent, so it was really quite funny. Anyway, it turns out the guys we were waiting for were a Bucks group, and we're like, oh gosh, and they turn up, and the groom, old Lorenzo, I think he was still a bit intoxicated from the night before. He had bandages all over his nose, so goodness only knows what happened to him. And one of the other guys wasn't real talkative to start with. I think he was just nursing a few
hangover. He was a bit tired emotionally.
Yeah. Anyway, that was the beginning of the trip. And
but
yes,
the surprise was they had a guitar.
Oh yeah, well, let's tell that later when we get there.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, they did bring a guitar, which could be bad, could be good. So the tour, we started. We've got a few stops along the way. We're going to, as you were talking about, a vineyard. We're going to a beautiful beach area. We're going to some, lovely cathedrals, small chapels, an island, and then, a boat trip, which, unlimited wine and mussels. So let's start from the beginning, where we hop on our bus, and our first stop is, on the way, we're driving through all these beautiful vineyards, just rolling mountains and gorgeous grapevines all over the place. And our first stop is at a little family-owned vineyard called Laga de Basada. Out the front of their little winery, we're going to talk about these a bit later, but they've got, I guess I'll tell you now, they're called an Oreo. So it's the same as the American biscuits, the round chocolate ones. Oreos are these ancient grain storage buildings, and they're up on pillars, and they're sort of narrow rectangular buildings.
Yeah, they're made of stone.
And that was one of the things that stood out to me as soon as we got there, this beautiful ancient Oreo, and once again, beautiful photos of that. And we were broken into 2 groups. There were the Spanish speakers and the English speakers.
Yeah.
And there was only 3 English speakers, and we got the lady who owns it, Maria. And so we had basically our own personal tour through the vineyard, didn't we?
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about, because they grow them in an unusual way, don't they?
Yeah. Well, basically, the winery was established about 40 years ago, which is around the same time that the Rias Rakshas appellation was formed. So they're one of the first wineries. She explained because the region has an average 188 days of rain, they use a pergola-style vine production method that maximises the sun exposure to the leaves, and the fruit has better ventilation.
So you're walking under the vines, aren't you?
We actually walked under the trellis, I suppose, what you'd call
pergola,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're a lot further off the ground than anywhere else we've seen, anywhere actually else in the world. It was totally different than what we've seen before. So it's very, very, very unique.
Oh, they didn't grow, all their grapevines weren't here. They've got, pockets of vineyards all over the place, because this is where they produced it. So they took us, Maria took us through the production there, through where they store the wine, where they make the wine, where they bottle the wine, where they put the labels on. That was all fascinating. We had our own little, as I said, our little personal tour.
Yeah. Now, the grapes are small with golden green, iridescent, elegant, floral and fruity aromas. Their flavours fresh and smooth. Our tour finished with a tasting of the Alada de Baladina. That's 100% Albarino grape. Then we had a Berbillas de Baladina, which was their sparkling wine. So this area is also quite famous for their sparkling wine.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's light, as you said before. It's just really light white wine. It's lovely.
And we finished off with what they're famous for, which was the Lager de Basada.
And I guess the reason that it goes so well here is because of all the seafood. Like, it's a really nice wine to pair with the local produce. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And where the area is, it's so close to the Atlantic Ocean, so you're getting all the atmosphere of that change
terroir.
The terroir is so that's all affects it.
So,
and Maria explained all that.
Yeah,
but
what a great experience though. Yeah, we love going to different wine regions around the world, and that was a little favourite, wasn't it?
But
and
the explanation of the terroir was a little bit beyond my level of knowledge of wine.
And because it was early, we didn't have too much wine. So back on the bus, and we then head directly to one of the most beautiful coastlines I've ever seen, where there's this little chapel called the Capella de Lanzada, yeah?
Correct.
And
well done, Leonida.
Thank you. And then right next to that is the beach. Beautiful, beautiful white sand, the blue, clear water, and these big rocks covered in the orange lichen, isn't it? Just the contrast of that is so pretty. And it's not the open sea though.
It is.
We say it's on a ria.
Yeah, no, the ria. It's close to the ria.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's very close to the ria of Pontevedra,
right.
And then obviously it's really popular during the holidays and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's where that is, that's on the open ocean, and of course the nutrients and all that sort of thing in the ria, which you're talking about, that obviously helps the quality of the actual seafood. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about where we were.
Okay.
Why did we stop there?
The history of the Capella de Lanzada is rooted in the ancient archaeological site, with evidence of occupational dating back to the late Bronze Age and a medieval fortress from the 10th century. And there is part of that fortress there. Current Romanesque chapel, built in the 12th century using stones from an older structure, is famous for its association with Santiago pilgrimage route.
So that's 12th century. It's in really good condition.
Yeah.
Wow.
So in the 1100s. So
wow.
It's incredible. Yeah. So it's associated with the pilgrimage route and the ancient fertility rituals.
Oh yeah, we told about this a couple of times.
Yeah. So it's a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
And that actually stems from the pagan Celtic era. That's where it first started. Okay. So the chapel has been associated since ancient times with the fertility rite of the bath of the 9 waves on the beach of La Lazada. The last weekend of August, the pilgrimage of the Virgin of La Lanzada, is celebrated on Saturday night. Hundreds of women come to the beach to end their infertility. The women must swim in the water at midnight and receive 9 waves over their belly. And I don't know whether you remember it or not, but our tour guide mentioned about the 9 waves, and that is associated with the 9 months of the pregnancy.
Oh, well, I didn't remember that.
Yeah,
well
so there you go.
But the little chapel was beautiful, the scenery there, the rocks, the beach, just beautiful. And so once again, I've got lovely pictures of that little stop that we did.
We went into a couple of the chapels on this particular tour. So the sailors also asked for the favours of the Virgin to protect them from the dangers of the sea, as evidenced by the offerings in the form of miniature boats suspended inside the chapel.
That's right. They were really cute, weren't they?
Yeah. So, again, very different than what we've ever seen before.
Yeah.
And it's very, very, very Galician.
And we had some free time there to wander around and explore and just sort of take our time taking in the views, which was nice. None of this was rushed, so that's what I liked about it.
It was really, really
relaxed.
Yeah,
it was nice. And then so that was our second stop. And then we went on to, it wasn't a long drive, and we crossed over to Isla de Tocha. Yes?
Yeah. Well,
we don't know. That's
so with the Galicians have their own language. So in their language, it's Ilha da Tocha, which is Toxa. In Spanish, it's Isla de Toha.
Okay.
Toha.
Well,
Toja. So,
thank you for the
well, the only
Spanish
reason
lesson.
I know that is because there was signs in both languages,
Yes.
and I just couldn't work out what they were on about. So that's what I.
All right. So this little place is
stunning.
It's like this little, I don't know how you describe it. All of a sudden, you've got these beautiful homes. You know you're in an upmarket place. There's fancy cars. And I think it's now a health and wellness sort of retreat.
It's famous for its thermal springs and spas.
Yeah, and there's this massive big hotel that King or other built. And he said, when I get married, I'm going to walk straight from my hotel along a red carpet into this cathedral. Now, this cathedral, little chapel, is, I don't know exactly what it's called, but it is 100% covered in shells, like these scallop shells. And that was to waterproof it, yeah?
Okay, so the name?
Yes.
Capella de las Conchas.
So
the conchas is the shell.
Sure. And it just so happened the day we were there was a wedding on. And sure enough, they had the red carpet.
Yeah, all the way. Yeah.
From the hotel all the way through the park over to this little chapel with these shells on it. Now, our tour guide was a bit disappointed that there was a wedding because we normally would go in the chapel and, that would take up a bit of time. But we didn't mind because we were people watching like nothing else.
Well, how the people talk about glamorous going to this wedding, whether it be middle-aged older ladies and guys or the young, they were dressed, and it was really hot.
Isn't there like a casino there?
There's a casino, yeah.
So it's really like where the money's...
And a very famous golf course as well.
Okay, so there's a lot of money spent.
Yeah, and this little island, it's just like... You
just cross a bridge.
You just cross a bridge. Yeah. But even when you're crossing the bridge, you just go,
But do you remember how they found it? Because I've got a picture of this. There's a statue of a donkey basically lying with its legs up in the air like it's dead, right? But and also a picture of the park, the chapel with the red carpet, and there's also a beautiful walkway all the way along. Promenade. It's just stunning with the views right on the water.
And that also overlooks the mud areas, mud flats and all that sort of stuff, which is where
they grow the
famous
seafood.
Well, it's also the famous health mud.
Oh, right. So what happened was, the rumour has it, years ago, a farmer, his donkey was sick and dying, and he didn't have the heart to shoot it or kill it, and so he took it over to this island, and just left it there, and thought, well, if it dies, it dies. I don't know how many years or months later, he went back, and the donkey's thriving, and so they believe that obviously the island and the mud and the water all has these healing properties. So from then, it became a place.
Legend has it.
Yeah. So that was a fascinating little island, wasn't it? And it's also the gateway to where we got on the boat. But because we couldn't go into the chapel, had free time once again.
Yeah, it was a prearranged area where we were to catch up with everybody.
So let's go back to what we mentioned before. Because we had some spare time, there was the group of guys called La Tuna. Now, I think we've mentioned before, La Tuna is a name for a band that used to be in the universities many centuries ago.
In the 13th century.
Yeah. So, and they used to be poor uni students, and they used to walk around and sing songs to people in their buildings, and they, like the women and the suitors would pay them to sing and all that sort of stuff.
To earn money and food, basically.
And we've seen La Tuna bands in other places dressed up in their costumes and stuff. Yeah. So hence, these guys were actually a La Tuna band. They're on their Bucks weekend, and they're a La Tuna band from Sevilla.
Correct, yeah.
And so with the guitar and filling in time in this beautiful park waiting for the start of our boat tour.
Yeah, we were walking back, and you could just hear the guitar music, and then you could hear, all of a sudden they started
the harmonising,
singing.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And and also our tour guide, she decided...
Oh, yeah, she did too,
And there was another lady on our tour that was, joining in as well, and we just enjoyed, and the sound of the music filled the park. It was really beautiful, wasn't it? Mm. Yeah. So that was about as quiet as the day was ever going to be.
Yeah, yeah, it was the start of the end.
Yeah, so that was really nice. So Then the fourth part of our day trip, we hop on a boat, and there was plenty of room. Like, we had a table to ourselves, and the boat takes you, on the rear. It takes you to where they grow all the mussels and
Scallops and oysters.
Yes, and they give you a running commentary in Spanish and English. And then when they get to where they grow all the different places, but the one I remember most of the scallops, a couple of the guys hop off the boat onto the platforms, and they're not really platforms, are they?
Well, I've got it here.
Okay,
so there is a commentary about how the mussels and scallops are farmed. We visited the platforms, the long lines, rafts, and the baleas, which are specific floating platforms traditional in regions like Galicia, which are made of eucalyptus wood lattices from which mussel ropes hang.
So these guys hop onto those, and they pull up the long ropes and show you the scallops mussels growing on these. And I've got some really great photos of that.
Yeah, I remember that. That was really, and look, seriously, it was, and like the scenery just.
It was so calm too, and there's just platform after platform after platform of where they're growing all this seafood. It was pretty cool. However,
the boat tour.
Yeah, that sort of took a bit of a second fiddle to the actual entertainment that we had going on board, because this tour included as many fresh mussels cooked. They were cooking them as you could eat, and the minute you look like you're getting to the bottom of your dish, they would come and.
They were almost serving them in buckets.
Yeah, they'd come and give you more, and they were delicious. They still had barnacles hanging off the shells and that sort of stuff.
And that was only matched by the amount of albarino that we served.
That's right. I was going to say, as well as the unlimited mussels, there was unlimited white wine. And I've got photos of the wine. I've got photos of, like, obviously the scallop farms, but the piles of mussel shells that we got through. But the fun part was, by this time, the Latuna guys, Lorenzo and his mates, they'd obviously got back into the wine and reignited their fun from the night before, and they had their guitar, and they were just entertaining the whole boat. Like, they were singing, and people had joined, obviously songs that everyone knows except us. People were joining in, they were clapping. And then, I've never seen this or heard this before. Like, this is I think this would be a world exclusive. Then we did a conga line around the boat. Yeah, with the tuna band singing, and everybody's going around the edge of the boat. I don't know what the boat drivers were thinking, because they
just let it go. They just thought, no, well, we may as well just let them. I mean, you're on the boat for about an hour, so there's not going to be too much damage. But what you're going to understand is, like, I'm talking about the listeners now, these guys can really sing.
Yeah,
I mean, they're really, really good. And it's all old folk.
Yes, I was saying, everyone, the Spanish people know.
They all know them. We had no idea. But we headed the conga line at one stage.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was the best.
But also the mussels and the wine and that boat tour was absolutely amazing. And I would do that again in a heartbeat as well. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So then we had to get off the boat, and
that was probably a good thing.
We did stop somewhere for lunch,
Yeah, Oak Grove.
Yeah, and we just went with the Latuna boys. They
actually adopted us as their new best Australian friends, and because we both were sort of attempting to speak a bit of Spanish, because we had that albarino and whatever. Lorenzo, he definitely adopted me.
He spoke no English, and I don't think he understood a word of your Spanish, but he was...
No, well, it didn't matter. No. But we bonded.
You did bond.
We did bond.
But we were with these guys, and I think there were 12 of us, and they were trying to get into a restaurant with 12 of us, and a lot of the restaurants turned us away. So we were just going to wander off, and they wouldn't let us.
No, they said, you're coming with us.
Yeah, so we had a nice lunch, a bit more wine, a bit more seafood, but that was really yummy. And then after lunch, we headed off to it was quite a late lunch, our last stop in this gorgeous little town, Combaro.
Combaro,
right.
Combaro.
Combaro, yeah.
Yeah, a historic fishing village in the Galician Rias Baixas. famous for its traditional architecture, especially the unique seaside oriels and stone crosses.
So what Lyle just said there were Oreos, and that's what we mentioned before. And this town had so many of them all dotted along. Once again, pictures of these.
Yeah, right on the water.
Right on the water. And,
yeah. And in between them, you had all these beautiful restaurants.
Yeah, and that you did. So let's say in some of them, even little shops, there's stairs going down to the water. You've got these pretty dresses and beautiful, obviously, flowers everywhere. There's more flowers in Combaro than I've seen in just about any Spanish city. Just so pretty and so unusual. It's also known for its stone crosses,
yep.
which are dotted all over the little city, and witches, right?
Yeah. Now there's a connection between those two.
Right. Okay. Well, I've got, once again, nice photos, and people have got witches outside their shops, outside the restaurants. There's good witches and bad witches, depending on, I don't know, what does that depend on?
Now, let me get into this.
Yeah.
It's said, as they always say, or legend has it, that many granite crosses dotted around town were meeting places for witches in Galician culture. Now, they call the witches in Galicia meigas, which is Meigas, which comes from the Latin word for magic. Okay. Can either be malevolent or benevolent, serving as both healers and sorcerers.
Mm-hmm.
The tradition of the meigas is deeply rooted in rural life, where they were often called upon for folk remedies, blessings, and curses. So it's a real big deal.
I wonder how that fits in with the Oreos. I mean, I guess they must have brought the boats there to put the grain in at the edge of the water. I guess that's why they're right there at the edge of the water. And they're hundreds of years old too, as you said, made of stone. And then there's the crosses and the witches. So it's a fascinating sort of combination.
Yeah, and this Combaro, that is located on the ria of Pontevedra, and that's only a really short distance from the city of Pontevedra.
Yeah. So that was our last stop for the day, and this was a fascinating day trip, wasn't it? Like, we just went home exhausted, happy, laughing, like, amazed. We saw things in this day trip in this part of Spain that we've never seen before. And if you get the chance and you're in Galicia, I'm going to put the link to it in the show notes, because I would highly recommend doing this trip. Yeah.
Oh, look, in the 12 weeks that we had in Spain this time, that day
was so much fun.
Was the best.
You know how you have times, because people often say, "Oh, what was your favourite?" And it's impossible to have a favourite place, but you can have favourite moments.
Yeah, and that's good description.
Yeah, and like, I can think of lots of favourite moments that you don't even know are going to happen, and having the tuna band on that boat, while we've got the mussels and the wine and singing.
Just made it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I imagine it'd be a great trip without the tuna, obviously.
Oh, sure.
You might learn a bit more about the growth of all the shellfish and stuff, but it was fun.
You know what my only disappointment was on that trip?
What's that?
Was when we got on the bus to go home. I was really hoping. I was still fired up to keep going, and I looked around, and all the guys were asleep.
Yeah, no, it was.
I think they were just having a little bit of a rest before the second night of Lorenzo's Bucks party. But yeah, it looked great, fabulous.
And so my favourite place to have a wine would definitely be on the boat, the Rios Baixas on this trip. Well, although at the winery too, that was pretty special.
Yeah, I'm going to go Combaro.
Okay.
I would love to, because we'll walk along that narrow cobblestone street, and you could see through a lot of the restaurants.
Yeah,
and the views down to the water, because I was sitting right on the water.
Yeah,
I reckon that would have been brilliant.
There's also fishermen houses there, and they face away from the water, don't they? They're up sort of high as well. So that was another thing I've got some photos of, because they faced away from the weather.
Yeah.
So the front of the houses they didn't look at the ocean.
Yeah. And we really probably haven't talked enough about how absolutely beautiful the actual coastline is. It's just amazing.
It is.
That the beach at Lanzada, is that?
Yep.
Yeah. that's like 2.5K long.
Yeah.
You're like, it's just glorious.
Yeah, I really wanted to see this part of Galicia.
Yeah, well, we were talking about when we were trying to get the trip, we wanted to go, well, you wanted to go to Pontevedra.
Yes, I did.
Well, we really did, I suppose. We didn't get to the actual city, but we went to all
I wanted to go that area because of the coastline. Anyway, so it was. But don't be disappointed because we did another day trip.
Yeah.
Instead of going south to the coast, we went west.
Northwest, yeah.
Yeah, and that was, we saw some incredible things that day too.
Yeah.
So that'll be in the next podcast. So this is podcast 138. As I said, if you've listened this far, thank you very much. And don't forget to go and check out the link to the tour if you're interested in seeing it, and also all the pictures that go with this. So click on the link in the podcast player you're listening on now. And until next time, it's adios from me.
Adios from me.